It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Can't believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
Yo, enjoy our favorite moments of this past week. And remember, when we get back on the air live Monday, we'll have more Post Malone Jelly Roll tickets for you. Enjoy the weekend.
Bingo. How fun.
Last week, someone lost an eye at bingo.
Bingo.
Bingo what bingo?
Bingo.
Bingo! All right, only the first person to call us gets to get on the radio with us. But what are we really looking for this morning in Listener Bingo? Maybe you're somebody listening who
has a child that did something illegal. There was a Florida sheriff that had a message to moms out there as he hunted down a thief.
His name is Luis Antonio Lopez. He's 35. We had our canine go woof, 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 come out and we're going to bite you. Well, eventually we got him into custody, but he resisted us without violence. He's locked up in jail. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be robbers.
There you go.
Have a good day.
Point blank, period.
Okay.
Don't do it. So your child did something illegal, and they're paying for it, and that's life.
Little
man.
trouble with the popo?
Maybe.
I'm going to look for anyone listening who is currently charting something right now. Maybe your doctor said, hey, as you guys are trying to get pregnant, let's start charting your cycles. Maybe you've got to keep track of, I don't know, how many bowel movements you're having per day, stuff like that. You're currently charting. Maybe it's just your workouts, but you're charting something. In Australia, they've come up with a brand new app. The government has created an app called Chart Your Fart.
The sound and how loud it was, or if there was much of an odor to it. It's not something that everyone's comfortable discussing, but it is a normal function of the body, and it's healthy. It's a sign that you're healthy.
Now, even if you're not Australian, you can select the I'm not Australian, and they still want your data.
You think Australian farts have an accent?
I don't know. I mean, there's... It smells like koala meat. So I'm looking for anyone listening who, today, you're going to be charting something. Maybe it's your farts, or maybe you're somebody listening who... Okay.
Yes. Somebody listening who has had a child that did something illegal. You do not have to use names or any specifics, but they did something that you're not proud of, but they learned from it.
How's Melissa doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
And you guys?
Oh, great. Thank you for asking. We're great. Which one do you fit? Please tell me you're charting your farts.
Well, if you were to ask my 8-year-old, he would be the one to say he's charting his farts, but I am unfortunately the one that has the naughty older child.
Oh, okay. What happened? You don't have to get into any specific details if you don't want to.
I would rather not, but it definitely fits, and they learned, and they are on the right track now.
That's amazing. Sometimes it just has to happen.
So let me ask you,
consequences.
Did this quick stumble cost them some of their freedom for a little while?
No.
Okay.
They were young enough to where no, but if it was to be an adult decision, yes.
Do you feel this decision was wholeheartedly your child's decision, or were they running with a bad crew that maybe influenced them?
Yeah, I think that there's more so of that influencer, and social media is garbage.
Okay. And when did you let him, in no way am I placing blame on you at all, but sometimes if they get it when they're younger, it could be a little bit more influential. Do you have kind of regrets with that, letting them have it at a certain age?
No, I think that, even going into schools, they have the ability, because my kids didn't have access to things till they were 16, 17 years old, and maybe trying to shelter them is what led to that rebellious. But, they don't come with a manual, right? So what do you do?
All right, but everything looks good now. Like, as you're looking towards the holidays, it's going to be a happy time?
Yeah.
Gotcha. If you could go back and do anything different, do you think about that? Like, is there something you could have done?
That's such a cliche question. Mm-hmm. We all could, but would it make us who we are and where we are now?
Good call.
And that learning that the learning that we have and choices we make.
You're like the posters I'm going to read at the dentist tomorrow.
Just hang in there.
Up on the ceiling. We make those decisions. And
there's no room for that optimism around here, Melissa. But
You're too sensible. Get out of here.
Have a great morning.
So I was listening to these vows that were exchanged by this new bride, and she put a lot of thought into it and just wanted her man, her new husband, to know that no matter what his obsession is, she'll be there to support it.
I promise to support and cherish your deep, some might even call it an obsession, love for the Detroit Lions. rest of our lives.
Well, it's easy to support when they're winning, right?
Right. Derek, like, his obsession is cinema trivia.
Oh.
And it's so random. And I'm trying to find the actor. Oh, here it is. So we were driving yesterday, and I'm driving, trying not to hit white knuckles, trying not to hit last night any deer that were to dart across the road. He's like this in my face. Do you know Burgess Meredith?
Oh,
like
yeah.
this out of
Rocky?
nowhere. We weren't talking about anything. And I said, I guess so. And I'm trying to keep my eyes on the road. And he just goes off on this whole tangent of all the movies that Burgess Meredith was in.
Do you know that we
weren't talking about anything.
He was the original Penguin in
that's
all of
what
the old
sparked
Batman TV shows way back in the day, yeah.
That's it. That's
and
what happened.
Grumpy old man. Grumpy old man.
Yes.
He's the grandpa, the dad, the oldest guy.
Yeah. Eats bacon, drinks the grease.
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Yeah. That's my life. Just like random. He's obsessed with knowing. And we talked about watching movies last week and how, it's annoying when people are distracted on their phones. That's him. Because he has to look it up. He has to see what other movies they were in.
What would he say is your obsession? If he had to include it in the vows, knowing you all these years later, he would say what?
Probably, I just know and I'm not proud of it too much about the Real Housewives. And I did meet my match this weekend. Her name is Susie, and it's a new mom.
There's someone who knows more?
A new basketball mom. And I welcome her with open arms because, like, she'll just randomly say, "Can you even believe Erica?" Like, we aren't even saying, and all the other moms that don't watch The Real Housewives, she's like, "Oh, Erica, who's that? Is she another Becker mom?" And I'm like, "No, Erica, her husband."
This is how Kat talks to me in the
swindled
morning.
all the money.
She's like, "Did you hear about this?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't. What's going on?" And
Lisa Rinna got a new face, and you just like it falls on deaf ears. But
if I had to go back to our vows and I had to include something that I would be more than willing to see through the obsession with, it's my wife has turned unhealthy.
Yeah. Not
like in her diet or her exercise program, but it's an unhealthy obsession of carrying on one-way conversations with the dog. It's very, very unhealthy. Like most of the time, if you just sat in the corner of our house and then heard the way she talks to the dog without a response,
you'd think there was somebody in there with her.
Commit her.
Oh,
I mean, there's several days where I've dialed like almost all the numbers to the loony bin and been like, "Trisha, you're gonna need a break." It's unhealthy. And here's the worst: is she'll talk to the dog in another part of our house, and I'll go, "Were you talking to me?" "No," but then she'll mumble from another part of the house and go, "Will you ever answer me?" I'm like, "I don't know. I thought you were talking to the dog."
They both roll their eyes at you when you say that. You're like, "Were you talking?" And then they're like, "No, see your way out of this conversation. It's me and the dog."
She doesn't know how good she has it because there's probably not. I don't think I have an unhealthy obsession with anything.
Okay. Some people, though, have a spouse that has an unhealthy obsession with QVC and spends too much, or maybe working on cars and they're out there all night. They come home from work and they just go right to the shop and work on the car. I would think that would be an unhealthy obsession because you're not balancing life.
Let's do this real quick. If we could turn back to your wedding day and you had to include your spouse's unhealthy obsession,
I would say, Derek, I will love you through sickness and in health and through your obsession with media and cinema trivia. That's what I would say.
Jesus. What would yours be? If you had to fill in the blank, rich or poor, sickness and in health, and blank. So, first off, I'm a little disappointed with all the haters out there, the people that think this is impossible to do. This isn't Chris Angel magic. I'm no David Blaine, but
it's pretty incredible. When you can pull it off, it's pretty incredible.
The good Lord did not bless me with a lot of common sense, extreme knowledge, or athletic ability, but I truly believe that if you just give me your name and I hear your voice, I can tell you're bra size. I should have made this a career somehow, but yet I'm telling fart jokes on the radio every single morning. So why don't you just give me your first name, which is what?
Caitlin, K-A-T-E-L-Y-N.
And Caitlin, there's no way, we don't know each other. There's no way I could ever know this, right?
No.
All right, let me just hone in a little bit more. What do you do for a living?
I am a sales rep at Verizon.
Okay, so you're into the phones. I'm going to go that Caitlin is a 36 double D.
Yeah.
Dang, he closed his eyes for that one.
Damn. I'm
a mime.
And Caitlin, I think a lot of women that are smaller chested right now would be a little bit jealous. Are you happy with this action?
Some days yes, some days no.
All right. I suppose exercise is a little tough.
Yeah, back pain.
And finding stuff that fits is probably a little tough too, huh?
That makes it tough.
All right. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. We got time for one more real quick?
Do you have it in you?
I could,
you.
I could do this till noon.
Can you stop doing that with your hands, though?
Well, do you ask Picasso to change
like
brushes?
The spinning of the hands.
It's how I hone in on this.
Right.
Why don't you give me your first name to start, please?
Melissa.
And Melissa, there's, again, no way that we don't really know each other. There's no way that I would know what your bra size is.
Correct.
All right. I don't even feel like I'm shooting in the dark on this one. I feel very positive that Melissa is a 36C.
Yes.
It's kind of silly, isn't it?
This is insane.
It is. It's crazy.
You call and you're like, there's no way this idiot knows more. But listen, I mean, if there's one thing I know, it's the boobs.
Apparently so.
So I was reading about how the experts that are up there in the North Pole, they're nervous because the North Pole is moving towards Russia. And the movement has slowed down in recent years, but the shift, it can affect navigation and smartphones.
Well, now, most of us don't actually navigate to true north, right? There's just it's a magnetic thing.
Right.
There's a heavy amount of magnetic force in our Earth's crust. So when you have a compass, it doesn't actually point to the North Pole. It points towards the magnetic north.
You want to have a fun conversation with Derek? Ask him where north, south, east, and west is. It's just...
He doesn't know?
No, it's just like that conversation that he doesn't believe that if you go 60 miles an hour in your car on the highway, that you'll go 60 miles in that 1 hour. Like, he doesn't believe it. He thinks it's a farce. He's like, there's no way. Nope, prove it. I'm like, I think it has been proven.
Give me an hour and I think I can.
He just... no matter how much Googling I do, he'll never believe me. But that's something, when I said that, I thought of my mom right away, like a world without GPS navigation. She was trying to find her way from her house to the movie this weekend, and she got off on the wrong exit and then started driving 15 minutes back home. I'm like, didn't you realize that you weren't headed towards the city you were
Doesn't she
supposed
use
to go to?
GPS or anything? Waze, Google Maps, nothing?
She had it. She had it on her phone.
She just didn't pay attention to it.
She said, I was listening to my book on radio and the GPS voice is so low. I'm like, then turn it up. She was driving. But even like with my eyeballs and my brain, I know I wasn't going towards the city. She's lived here her whole life. And she has gone to that area several times a month. And I'm like, we'll see you when we see you. But there are a lot of people that live that life that can't find their way places.
Her name is Reagan.
Really?
Yeah, my daughter's really bad with directions. We lived in the city here for 10, 15 years, more than that. And when she got her license, my youngest son too, he's
Really?
17. He doesn't, if you say, I need you to go west over here or take this, he'll be like, I don't know where you're talking about. You got to give me a landmark.
Yeah.
And my daughter, I mean, there was times that like she took her driver's license test less than 5 miles from our home and could not get there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's alarming.
But I think a lot of people are just GPS reliant, right? Like you plug it into your phone and she's perfect about that. She's like, where are we going? Okay,
I try to test Liam. Like I'll have him put his phone down and I'm like, tell me how to get to, like if he has to go to Mendel for basketball, I'm like, tell me how to get there. And so he'll tell me the roads and tell me to take a left. No, he'll just tell me, take a left up here, take a right up here. And I'm like, okay. Sets my mind at ease a little bit.
Hey, there's another Liam over here on line 3. You okay with directions?
I'm pretty good with directions because I'm older.
That is a thing, Mandy, because he's older.
Oh, okay. I just have always had that, like, I could remember certain, like, landmarks and I'll know to take a left there or whatever. I don't know where I got it from because my mom and dad could not. They can barely find their way out of their house.
But like,
weird.
do you know all the like the county roads around you, all their numbers and stuff, or do you just know land?
No, I just know
don't really know the numbers. I'm more like left, right, take a left at the silo or whatever.
Yes,
you know?
See, because I'll tell my kids, hey, take 136 over to 54, and they'll go, what? Like they don't know. My kids don't remember street names, highway numbers, anything like that. That's just a lost art.
I'm just a visual.
That's true. It's true because the GPS to blame.
Well, and you know what? The GPS is a little more reliable, too, so it's probably not that all of a bad idea.
Yeah, that's true, too.
A friend of mine has a daughter who is pursuing a modeling career, moving out to L.A., and her agent tells her, the best thing you can do, and I think we can get you more work, is if we can get your eye color changed. And a lot of people are texting, why doesn't she just get the colored contacts?
Yeah.
I don't know. That must have already been explored because that seems like the easiest thing. But now they've got this thing where they can actually inject like an LED type of thing into your eye, and it can change the eye color. And it's like $12,000 or $13,000. So that's what she's asking for Christmas. Her agent said, we can get you tons more work if you have blue eyes with blonde hair, right? I mean, it's America. So he's like, $13,000 though seems like a lot, but you want to give you. She didn't go to college, so he's kind of weighing that. He's like, well, I didn't pay for tuition, so should we get her this for Christmas? And I thought that's kind of interesting. If you were to offer up just kind of an open checkbook, what physical thing would you get changed?
I would, and not to get so graphic, but when I had my surgeries, my C-section, amazing. Could barely see it. You'd have to squint to see it. She was a Picasso. All right. But then I had my other surgeries with my colon, and they sewed me in so tight that it doesn't matter how much weight I lose. I'll never have like a flat stomach, and I don't know. It's like a hangover shelf.
So
it's hard to describe, but I don't like it.
A plastic surgeon could probably fix that up, right?
I just need them to undo that part and just like pull it down and then put another, line of whatever in there. I need them to just sew it up. And then I'd be happy.
I don't think I have one.
You don't have one?
I don't think I have a surgery that I would want or a physical change.
This was a setup.
No, it really wasn't. I was thinking about it for the last 5 minutes, and I'm like, I really don't have one.
Wow. Well,
I'm pretty good with the great. I'm pretty good with the aging thing, right? Like I here's where I never wanted to get caught up on it is eventually one day you're going to have to go, I quit chasing this thing. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to go from 35 to 70 in a day. That would be too hard on me.
Yeah. Okay.
So
you don't have one thing?
I don't. It's not that I'm super.
Your belly button's very large.
My belly button is big, but whatever. Like
I'm just trying to help you find.
I don't care. I appreciate you pointing out all of my inadequacies. That's really what I was hoping this would do. So, Amy, let's just say we're going to fit the bill. Like we're going to, for Christmas, give you one thing that would better your appearance in your eyes and make you feel better. What would it be?
Tummy tuck.
A tummy tuck right away. You just want it all kind of flattened out and stapled down.
Yep, definitely. Had 3 kids, and tummy tuck would be it.
Just loosey-goosey. How are your boobs? Your boobs good?
Yeah, I'm glad you can ask that because I can't.
Well, lifted would be nice.
But you take the tummy tuck over the boob job.
I would definitely take the tummy tuck over the boob job.
You got some adult money. What's the one thing you really, really want, but you haven't pulled the trigger on it yet?
I would love a front, and Derek put the kibosh on this, so it won't ever happen, but I would love a front, like, stamped cement concrete patio.
Oh.
Do you remember Amos's back cement patio?
Yeah,
how it had like the designs that it looked wet? I would love that with some Adirondack chairs and like one of those flame heaters without the smoke that comes out. Not to be so specific, but that's what I want.
Sounds very intense.
But Derek thinks that out front, in front of our house, to take away from our yard would be a dumb decision. But I feel like I would sit out there during the 90 days
just
that we get.
Sit out.
Yeah.
Just hang.
Yeah.
I don't think ever kind of bettering your property is ever a bad investment. Mm-hmm. I was happy when we did it on our old property. The reason I ask is as we're almost done with our project of finishing off our shed, one of the things that my wife keeps saying is, well, you should definitely look into getting another pool table because the pool table we had stayed with our other house and I miss it incredibly. And I've been really looking at them and I'm like, oh man, like.
Why do you have to have a brand new one?
Well, I don't.
Can't you get one on Marketplace?
The kind I want, I can't find used, and the size I want, there aren't very many used. I don't want to drive to Omaha, to pick up three chunks of slate and all the wood and everything and like that, and bring it back. But I'm like, God, I don't know if I want to pull the trigger on it, but then I really do. And so I thought this would be an interesting question to ask. What's something you got a little adult money? And maybe got a little into savings, and you're thinking, I really, really want this, but I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. Jimmy, your first thought was what?
Air hockey table.
Yeah, you know what? We had one for if you don't have kids, or you don't have young kids, it's not going to get used. I'll tell you that much.
So you get one of those like 4-in-1 tables. Those are kind of cool.
They're
where
cool.
It's like foosball, and then you flip it, and then it's ping pong.
My recommendation would be to get the one that is very sturdy, because when 7 to 15-year-old kids are playing it, they don't care whether or not it's sturdy.
Yeah.
They're getting buck wild on it. But air hockey table is a pretty good investment. How about you, Brian?
Gaming console.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of guys.
Yeah. Gaming console.
Does Derek have a really, really nice setup?
No. He hasn't gamed in years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was the deal when you would go out of town, he would just sit in his underwear and eat fried chicken.
I haven't gone out of town.
Oh, so fair enough. That's how you stop that. Let's get to Cole. What do you want? But you haven't really pulled the trigger on it yet?
I would love to get a boat, but yeah, my dog don't like the boat, and she don't want to go out fishing too
Well,
much.
if your dog doesn't want to go out, well, then you can't go out. But I just thought it'd be kind of fun to run through this list. If you want to text us real quick, what's something you really, really want, but you haven't pulled the trigger on it quite yet? My wife wants to get some kayaks for next year.
Oh,
and I'm
fun.
like, all right, I think that would be fun because it's good exercise, so I can justify that. If I gave this question to my kids, obviously I'd go broke in a heartbeat. But what's the one thing, now that you got a little adult money, you'd want to pull the trigger on, but you just haven't yet?
Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? Everybody!
OPP, it's other people's problems. A little something going on in your life. You don't want to get everyone else's thoughts on it. It's pretty easy to get a hold of us. Hit us with a text or a DM. Maybe send us an email. And when we saw Nyla's message, I was like, dang, I don't even know the full extent of this, but it kind of made me angry already when the bills come in the mail and you open it and there's a bill for something you really didn't know anything about.
How often do you think she beats you to the mailbox?
Oh, every day.
Like you would never see a statement.
I don't open the mail because I don't want to see this stuff.
Oh.
Even if I get the mail, I bring it in. I set it on the center island.
Blissful life.
And this is nothing I want to fight about. But let's get the story here real quick. Nyla, tell us what's going on.
We have a daughter, and we just moved her into college, her first dorm, right? And so, you know, she came to me with a lot of inspiration from TikTok and Pinterest. And so we had this beautiful decor idea, and we went for it. But my husband opened up the statement, and he was a little pissed off.
How much did you
the amount
spend?
that we spent. A little over $5,000.
Oh, my God.
There are so many. There's so much to live up to nowadays. They're expecting girls' dorm rooms to be like pimp my ride type situations. And,
yeah,
you know, I couldn't let my daughter just, you know.
You couldn't let her ball on a budget like everybody else.
You spent $5,000 to decorate a broom closet for 9 months.
I mean, she's our daughter. She's going to be staying there. This is her first time away from home. I wanted her to be comfortable and you know, happy in her space.
I'd be more comfortable with the $5,000 in my pocket.
These elaborate setups are getting worse and worse every single year. So I get the pressure that you want her to have a nice, comfortable spot after class to go back to.
Right.
But, I mean, did you not learn when you were in high school to beat your parents to the mailbox? Like, you should have beat him to the mailbox.
I tried, but it came earlier than expected.
What happened to, and I'm going to put you on hold for a second while we get people's thoughts, but what happened to, you go to college and struggle. Those are the struggle years, the 4 years of struggling to get food, have money for your friends. I listen, and maybe I was just raised differently, but when my dad dropped me off my freshman year, I had a trunk, like an old trunk that came across.
Like Revenge of the Nerds when they took out that big trunk?
It was an old trunk from my great-great-grandmother when they made their way across the across the plains. That's what they had everything in. I had a trunk. My dad had half of it. I had the other half.
Yeah.
We set it down. He shook my hand, gave me $50. He said, "I'll see you at Thanksgiving." It was up to me. If I wanted money, I had to have a job.
Yeah.
I had to put myself in some very precarious positions, hustling pool to get cash. I never did anything that I'm ashamed of.
Look at me,
$20 is $20. I get that, but I never got to that point.
Listen, Insta has some pressure to it. They have now set the bar as to how, and really only girls should decorate their dorm room. Like, moms want to make sure that their daughters feel comfortable. This
You
is
know
where
how we
they're gonna
decorated?
live.
We took an empty vodka bottle, pulled the inside of a highlighter out of it, dropped it in there, filled it with water, and then it would glow as a light when we had our black light on.
Was Reagan's dorm room a little over the top?
I don't want to talk about this because my daughter,
That's why you're getting so upset.
My daughter
All right.
and my wife got together with this grand scheme and it's these 4 girls living in a really, really nice place. But you walk in, up until the current home I'm living in, they have it better than I had it.
Yeah. It's the time.
It's disgusting.
There was a standard set by social media, and if you don't have your room looking like that, you're going to get bullied even in college.
I want to find out if anyone else is living this life right now. Like, you feel the need, or you have spent thousands on your kid's dorm room. And I can't believe I'm a parent of somebody who has. I know that's why I don't ask to see how much they spent. I would bet between my wife and my daughter, it's for sure in the thousands.
Yeah, I believe you.
For 9 freaking months.
But it
God,
looks
this
so
whole thing
cute,
makes
right?
me so... No.
It looks adorable.
I'm sure it's great.
It photoed well. Yeah, if you have the heart to get into teaching, do it. Because there are some people that might not be in the right position, and I think that this is that case. So she had texted that there is a teacher at her child's school that has been reported 3 times this year alone. When did school start? September.
We're
That's
2 months
crazy.
in, yeah.
And then several times over the last few years has been reported as well. And then she said, when we found out my child got this teacher at the end of the summer, everyone said, you got to switch. This teacher is not kind, likes to pin students against each other. Even as of last week, had a little girl stand up, told her to go to the nurse because she smelled like pee. What can we do as parents? Kids they don't have any control in this. So that's why you have to have their back. This is an elementary, I would assume, setting. And it says, is it the lack of teachers out there, or is the school afraid of having to start the hunt?
First text we got was from Allison. She said, let kids fight for themselves. I will only step into this kind of a situation if it gets to a legal situation. We're teaching our kids to complain and get what you want.
I don't believe in that at all. I believe as my child has gotten older, I encourage him to do that. Definitely in middle school, for sure. Go talk to your teacher before I talk to them. But when they are young kids, they need you. So,
Krista, thoughts on this?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
Yeah, I guess, morning. We always, try to blame one or the other. And my thoughts are pull both aside, parents and teachers, because that's where kids learn it from, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Both need to be accountable, not just the teacher and not just the parents. I mean, to me, why does this kid smell like pee? So you pull the parents aside and say, hey, guys, what's going on?
Right.
Pull the teacher aside and say, that's not right, to call out in front of everybody. So I don't know. We always want to play the blame game, but I think both should be accountable.
Here's a little
The true victim is the child. I think we can all agree on that.
Little moment of levity. We got a text. I'm not going to say their name because they're requesting we don't, but she works at this school. She said, I know exactly who you're talking about. We are way too desperate for teachers to do anything.
We have some horrible teachers.
A lot of people are talking about how tenure is such a bad deal because you really can't get rid of them then. So, boy, it's hard enough to be a kid going to school nowadays anyways. I mean, you got everything that you're worried about. It seems like it's all turned up a notch since we were in, grade school or whatever.
Krista, have you ever had a situation where your child had a bad teacher and you had to do something about it?
I have not, but I do know of a couple of my friends where they're really struggling with a teacher and obviously the classmates being just real bullies.
Yeah, classmates is a whole nother kettle we don't want to open right now. But hey, thanks for your thoughts on this. We appreciate you. Have a great day today.
Thanks, guys.
I want to get Keisha's thoughts as well. Good morning, Keisha. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
We're great. Thanks for asking, sir. That's my dad. What do you think about this whole thing?
Man, I'm frustrated. But I mean, when I first heard the actual announcement, since the lady just spoke a minute ago, I agree with her. So it has removed some of the frustration.
Okay.
However, so both parties should be held accountable, both parents and both teachers. Being a former advocate that worked for the school district, what I say is that, like, when the parents release these kids to come to school, we don't actually know what the household is like. Us as teachers and, administration in the school, that's why they go to school with us. We're supposed to also take time out to get to know those kids and what their situations are. Everybody's not going to tell what their situation is, and every parent is not going to say, hey, I need help.
Well, you've worked in the school district. Would you agree that there are just some teachers that aren't fit to be doing this, yet there's such a shortage that they're just getting by?
HE double hockey sticks, yes.
Thank you for censoring yourself for the video.
Very optimistic. All right. Well, hey, thanks for your thoughts. I appreciate this. We're going to take everything and pass it back along via text. But if you got thoughts, you definitely can still text us. Thank you.
All right, the new trend, and we did one of them last week. It was the suspect challenge. And now we're going to try this one. We're not a couple in no way, but we do spend a lot of time together. And we're going to say the stuff couples never say challenge. So
this is
like
an
the
example,
opposite of what you'd normally say.
This is kind of what we're looking for.
I'm glad you didn't ask your friends any details about their lives while you were golfing. I didn't even care to know.
Can you actually turn up your TikTok volume? I can't hear it from across the room.
No! Oh, I can't believe your fantasy team lost. Oh, night ruined.
No, I totally understand why you're mad at me. I cheated on you in your dream.
I just love that you keep every pair of shoes that you own at the front door just so we can see all of the options. Really?
Can you actually tell me more about your ex-boyfriend?
No, I'm not even starting to think about kids. One thing at a time.
I literally watch every TikTok video you send me. They're so funny.
I know you do, and I know you like them.
All right, you up for this challenge?
I think so. But here's the problem: is like you go for pain here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to be cordial and to keep the
don't do me any favors.
The wheels spinning.
Okay,
and you're just out for blood, so I
Not
feel like
at all.
I'm mismatched here.
All right, you want to go first?
I'll let you fire the first shot.
All right, I am so fascinated with your knowledge of taping and mudding sheetrock. You got to tell me more. Please don't hold back. Go.
Well, I totally love that you hawk a loogie like a hockey player into the garbage can at least 15 times a day because it keeps my ears alive.
When is your next water fast? I want you to update me every single hour.
Well, I'm excited always to see what 3 different dishes you bring in from the break room to make sure my sense of smell is on point.
Okay. Well, give me a heads up next time you start watching 70 videos in a row of people kicking each other in the nads because I didn't live for it. Well, I don't want to miss out.
I cannot thank you enough for keeping me up to date on all the different Real Housewives shows because I often think about what's going on with Natalia and Bernica and Freshina and everything
Dorit
else.
is now
Doritos. And
separated.
Always, yeah. So I'm really, really happy about all that. And you keep me on my toes. And what it does is it allows me to have a life so I don't have to watch all of these.
Okay, that was a long one.
But that was my go-to. That was my go-to. That was my hammer.
All right. I just thought it was really funny. The stuff couples never say, challenge. Try it with your significant other, but know that you have to brace yourself for the truth.
I would be interested to see what people would say about either one of us in that tone. Have you ever had a moment where you were just like, I can't poop at work?
No. I have never been shy about where to go. Most of Derek's stories that we talked to him about last week about accidents and stuff, that's because he can't go at work. He has some type of hang up in his
mental
head.
block.
We actually have a really good place here. If you go up to the second floor, it's like that secluded bathroom area. Go there.
Well, even
make
the one
as much
here,
noise as you need
it's
to.
not that bad. There are certain guys that have worked here over the course of the years that make it almost intolerable to use the men's bathroom.
I hear.
It's a scene in there, but you've never had a problem with the ladies' room here, huh?
No, we have very pretty decor. We have nice smelling scents to spray, so we're all set to go.
It's nice in the men's room when they get the new urinal mat in there.
Oh, okay.
Like, because it really smells good when you pee on it.
Yeah.
But they're now saying that 1 in 3 people will not even, no matter what the case is, they will not go to the bathroom at work. They won't do a number 2 at work.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate because it's not good for you to hold that toxic stuff in. You got to get it out. You shouldn't have to hold it for another, half-hour drive.
1 in 5 of us say the only reason we would ever go at work is if it was a red alert. Like you ate some bad food, you were sick, something like that. But there are still 10% of people that say they have never, ever, ever gone at work. So as long as they've been in the workforce, they've never gone poops at work.
That's kind of like Liam has never gone that at school.
He won't go number 2 at school.
It's not that he'll hold it in, but if he'll talk himself out of it.
Really?
And I'm like, that's not healthy, buddy.
It's a strong mind over matter thing.
I am not going in there. So
I know of high schools, and I went to a high school where too many kids got caught smoking in school, so they ripped the doors off the poopers.
No way.
Yeah, you couldn't go in there, and it was just.
Isn't that a privacy?
Well, I'm sure it was at one point because the doors eventually came back on, but there was a healthy time. I was a sophomore in high school. There was a healthy half the year where if you had to go, you were wide open. It was,
wow.
You'd always go to the last one. You know what I mean? Because you didn't want anybody walking all that way. But all of a sudden,
prison.
They just, all of a sudden you walk by and you're face to face with somebody as you're doing your business. You're like, hey, this one's occupied. I mean, it was a thing. I guess I didn't really think too much of it. I just thought, all right, somebody screwed up. We got to go along with the repercussions. So what I'm looking for are those pooping at work stories. You got a really great one for you, for us. I want to hear it. Jamie, you're first up. Tell us about it.
I drive for a living. We can't always stop. So there is some clenching, but unfortunately, I don't have a lot of times like that.
Sure.
I did have one last week where, thank God, my passengers were off of my vehicle, and I literally had to go in my trash can. Thank God I keep the bag in there, but I pulled the bag out right away and got rid of it.
What this reminds me of is the stories you would hear of truckers throwing gallon milk jugs of urine out the window.
That is gross.
Because they couldn't stop, wouldn't stop. I mean, time is money, right, when you're on the roads?
Well, the pooping in the trash can, I thought you were going to talk about the fitting rooms or the tanning booths.
Oh, remember when we got that call from the person at Target that worked the fitting rooms and people had been pooping in the garbage
We
cans?
talk about so many things, but that whole bit stuck in my brain. I can't believe that people are taking trash out of tanning booths.
You've got your $12 an hour job working at a tanning booth, and you go in there to spray it down, and you realize somebody just dropped a giant deuce in there.
I can't.
Not enough money. Brad, you're up. What do you got for us?
I work in a place that has probably 600-700 people working at a time, and when you're in there doing your thing, all of a sudden you hear noise coming from the other stall next to you, and somebody's on the phone talking to their girlfriend or their, and so I thought, well, I'm going to have a little bit of fun with them, so I just go ahead and turn my phone on speakerphone and started either playing some bathroom noises that are, little, on the rude side.
I do that when Kat's taking calls in here. She'll just be, in between songs or commercials.
Talking to my insurance agent or Liam's school. He'll play that as loud as possible. They're like, just checking on, Liam.
I got time for one more. Billy, tell us about it.
Oh, okay, man. Well, to be honest, I usually poop at work. It's no problem, but we had a full house here. So I decided to not poop, and I tried to trust a fart, and wouldn't you know it, but I sharted, so I had to get out of here and get changed. Yeah, it was the worst experience, and that was the only time I didn't poop at work. So if these people want to know if you should, hell yeah, don't take the chance.
I agree with you. I don't think that it's good to hold it. There's no reason. Everybody does it at work.
Your husband, knowing his batting average with trusting a fart.
Yeah.
Does he always have a spare set of underwear and pants with him?
He normally does. I'm going to be
rolls that way.
In the trunk of his car, he has a little safety kit.
So most of us will have a spare tire and a jack. He's got extra pants. Because
maybe some matches or a granola bar. He has extra panties back there just in case. And thankfully, because that saves him a ride home.
The last time you quit a job, how'd you do it?
It was the one before this one. I've been here 18 years. And so it was after my morning show in Fargo. I got a call from a guy that used to work here. He's like, send your stuff. I sent my stuff. And then 24 hours later, you faxed me the contract. And then I was out. And
how'd you quit, though? What'd you tell him?
Oh, I walked down to his office. And it was really intimidating because he was my boss and I was sleeping with him at the time. And so I handed him my resignation letter. And by the time I walked back to the studio, he had already texted a girl that was doing afternoons. And she was like, walks in. She's like, you're leaving? I'm taking your spot. I was like, okay, I'm out of here.
Quick.
Peace out. So that's the crew I was working with. Now we're on good terms. But back then it was like, it was a very weird environment, so I'm glad I got out of there.
The last job I quit was same before this, and when I went in and told my boss I was taking this job, he said, "Oh, I didn't know you wanted to be in management or anything." So I only had a review less than a week ago, and I said that, and I'd been passed up for about 3 or 4 jobs at that radio station cluster.
Did they give you a reason why they passed you up?
No, that was the other part. They just hired from like outside too. They didn't even hire any of these jobs, 2 or 3 jobs from inside the building where we had a lot of qualified people. And he goes, all right, well, and this was on a Friday. And he goes, so you're just done? And I said, well, no, I'd be happy to put in my 2 weeks, and I have 2 weeks of vacation yet. And he goes, oh, we'll just pay those out. That's fine. And I'm like, all right. So I go back to my desk and I gather all my stuff, and I'm like, so I'm just done? And he's like, yeah. And so I leave, and then I get a call about 3:30 that afternoon from the guy that was running all of the radio stations. He goes, hey, pulled the trigger too fast. We're going to need you for another couple of weeks.
The guy did it out of emotion.
Yeah.
He's like, fine, screw you. You're out of here. And then didn't even think about the repercussions of getting shifts filled and stuff done.
And then I'm like, well, you know, I kind of mentally am already gone. And he goes, well, he's like, we can definitely give you some bonuses if you stay for the next couple of weeks. Help us get somebody else in there. And I was like, all right. And then the nice part was I had literally the last day that I worked there, I started here the next Monday. And then they were paying me like a severance kind of thing on the way out, and I was double dipping because they were paying me all my vacation time.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have that dual income thing. But I have a friend who's going to be quitting his job today or tomorrow at the very latest, and he's just like, he can't work there anymore. He's like, it's hurting my life. I can't keep going to this. And he's got a couple of prospects, but nothing nailed down. But he and his wife had the discussion, and they're just like, it's killing our lives. You have to get out of this job.
Yeah.
And it's mostly because of the management at the place he's working. And he gets that. That's not going to change because they're too embedded and they're all highly invested in this company and stuff like that. So I wanted to just ask, is anybody quitting their job today? When I asked it earlier, James called right away because this is going down, right?
Yeah, man. Today's the day.
Why? What's so bad about your gig? Why are you quitting?
It's my boss, man.
Yeah. It's always the boss.
It is always the boss. This dude is like so micromanaging.
Yeah.
And something I heard is like, you don't quit good jobs, you quit bad bosses.
And that's very true. Do you feel like he's micromanaging with other people, or is it just you? Because if it's like a bunch of you, then maybe you have like a reason to go to better your situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if it was just me, I'd be like, well, I mean, am I doing a bad job?
Yeah.
But
So it's
I know that I'm doing well, so
Kat always says never quit a job without having another job. And if you plan on quitting today, do you have at least something else in the works?
Yeah, I got something to float me by. I mean, it's not exactly like what I want to be doing, but it's like a good side quest for now, and I'm happy with that.
And it'll be better than what you're doing right now.
Yeah, more fun for sure.
Well, that's all that matters.
Well, good luck. Let us know how it goes, okay?
Yeah, thank you.